Alrighty, tonight we start a new project, and it involves this, so let's get to it. Again, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So glad each and every one of you could be here. Today we're going to be taking apart this bad boy, and this is going to be for a great channel supporter and friend named Gary Shorter, or Shorter's Diecast. It's a nice casting, but we need to look at it better, and the only way to do that is to get it out of this. So let's get it out. Alright, I put the magic get it out of the pack stuff in there, and as you can see, it's starting to work around the edges, and here in just a second it should just about fall right out. Look at that, alakazam, and that quick she's out. So let's prop it open so it won't reseal itself. And let's look at this bad boy. Holy cow. She's a beauty. I gotta tell you, she is a beauty. Not perfect, but she is a beauty. Just looking at the decals. Decals, you can see they've rubbed on both sides. Either that or that's during the installation process, but that's no problem. Now I'm just going to go ahead and tell you to start with, this is going to be kind of a tribute truck for a car driver. And you'll understand when we start painting it and all that good stuff and putting the decals on it. But we're going to have to do a few things to it, and we'll talk about that after we get all this paint off of it. And the first thing we got to do to get the paint off of it is to get this bad boy cracked open. So let's get her drilled apart. As always, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on here to keep everything lubricated and all that great stuff. But Mr. Shorter is a NASCAR fan, and I happen to know a couple of his favorite drivers. And that's what this is going to be. It's going to be a tribute to a NASCAR driver that we no longer have with us, that being Mr. Dale Earnhardt. So this bad boy is going to be black, number 3, all that great stuff, NASCAR wheels put on it, everything, the whole kit and caboodle. Alright, as you can see, simple base, plastic tabs. We might be able to save that. Chrome interior, chrome grill, chrome everything. That's definitely not going to stay that way. I might actually try to strip that and repaint everything, because Earnhardt didn't have any chrome. But here's the gist of everything. As you can see, it's a really short post, but thank goodness it goes into the fuel cell or battery cover, whatever the heck that is. So we've got enough to work with, and we've definitely got enough on that front. So now I got to drill it and tap it, or at least drill it for the screws. I'm gonna go ahead and warn y'all, if y'all ever do this, be careful with the bed. Because once you start drilling down in there, there's something about it where it's just a lot softer. And I mean, I went in there pretty quick, so I just stopped and backed back out, and yeah, we got her drilled out in no time. I normally don't tap these, but I'm just because I want to go ahead and tap this one. But I just wanted to warn y'all, if you ever decide to do one of these yourself, for whatever reason, when you go in this back post with the drill bit, I mean, it goes quick. So go slow, go gentle with it, and that way you won't drill through. Because if you drill through that, you're going to have to do something about it. But there are ways around. I mean, you can put a tonneau cover, you know, a piece of styrene. You can cover it if you go through it. So it's not the end of the world if you do. I'm just letting you know ahead of time that it goes real quick when you go to drilling it. I always knock the burrs and stuff off of the post so that it goes back in the base just that much easier, because We don't want any difficulties putting this thing back together. Some people don't use screws, they like to leave it, and that's fine, because what will happen is you can snap it back together with the metal that's left on here. But that's not what we're shooting for with our build, because we're going to be putting screws on this. So I want it, and in case I have to take it back apart, you know, like if I put it together and when I get it together I see something I don't like, I want to be able to take it back apart easily, and you know, all that good stuff. And during shipping I don't want it to come apart. So there's many reasons why I use screws. It's up to you, you don't have to, but you know, I use them. That's all that matters, is what you want to do. But while we've got it, give it a quick once over and see if there's anything that we really need to address right this second. And I don't see anything except a very rough casting line right there, but that's part of the hood, so I think I'm going to leave that. I think I'm going to leave it. We'll see whenever we get it stripped. I can see there's some rough edges right there, and there's some rough edges right here I'm going to have to take care of. But I want to see if that's the paint or if it's the metal, and the only way to do that is what? That's right, put it in the stripper. So, with that being stated, let's put some screws in it, and then we'll put it in the stripper. I gotta get me some more screws, I'm getting low. Whew. Either that or doing so many cars. Can't do that, I enjoy doing it. It's just something that I really like to do. Look how easily that goes in when you tap it. But the only problem I have found with tapping them with the screws that I use and the drill bit that I use, if you aren't careful when tightening them down, it is super easy to pull the threads out. So all you want to do is go until it's snug and stop. And you can see there's a lot of threads left on this, and that's fine. I can grind it down, I can cut it down, whatever, if the screw ends up being too long. In the end, we won't know that until we go to do assembly, and that's no problem to fix. I mean, just a quick little snip with the cutters, because that's what these holes are for. Put your screw in there, snips it right off. But there's that. Oh, I meant to get the stripper out. Well, here we go. We've got the stripper out. We'll see what this thing looks like whenever we take it out. I'm going to sand off the door handles because NASCAR doesn't have door handles. And I don't know if I'm going to do the bed line or not. We'll see when we get there. But she's done run off track and got stuck up just like they all do. So we'll see this bad boy tomorrow and pull it out of the stripper. But we're going to put everything up for now. There's no scratches or gouges in that because it's a new casting. So I don't have to worry about that. Again, this is not going to stay like this. I might drop it into the super clean and strip all that off, because it's not going to stay like this. I don't know what color I'm going to go with yet. I don't know. Wait a minute. I'm going to have to think. I may or may not do something like this. The cars talk to me when I'm doing it. I'm sorry. I go in it with one idea and then I end up changing because I really like having the red interior, because on some of Dale's older cars, the interior was red. So I really like the look of it whenever I just go over it with the translucent red paint and then black out the front and black out the rear. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. I'm not that far along yet, but here's a quick little tip about taking these off. You can see it's got the tabs, right? Well, all you gotta do is take something like this, stick under there, push down on one, and gently pull up and they pop right out. Look at that. Again, just gently push up on one side, stick it under there as close as you can without forcing it to the tabs, push down on the wheel and then pull up, and boom, they go flying across the room. But they come off that easy because we're not going to be reusing these. We are going to save these for another project later on, because we might chrome these, we might paint them, who knows. But those are not the wheels we're going to use. So next step is getting the body out of the stripper, so we'll see you then. Alright, straight out of the stripper. Let's check this bad boy out. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to take care of that edge right there. Right there. On both sides. Right now we're just giving it a once over to see what all we need to really take care of and do. And I'm gonna file that off, the door handle. But you can see there's a little bit of blue, there's a little bit of orange from the stripper, so that's what this is for. And then we'll dry it off best we can. I always hit anywhere where there's a groove that might catch anything. And then this reveals whatever's underneath this gray stuff. Now, I actually don't know what this gray stuff is. I don't know if it's like their primer or what it is. I've never really looked into it. But, see, there's a bad casting line right there, but unfortunately I don't think I'll be able to do anything with that. Let's get rid of those door handles first. To do that, you need a file or a grinding wheel on a Dremel or whatever. And just try to work it all in one direction, the full length. I mean, you don't have to go in one direction. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But you're trying to go the full length of the handle. And like that, that one's gone. Now let's do the other side. I mean, it's not hard. Just try to find the flat spot the best you can. You might have to rotate it just a little bit to get the top edge or bottom edge. But I mean, it just takes 30 seconds to knock it off. All right, that's gone. And while we've got it out, we're just going to run it the full length of the bed rail to knock off that sharp edge that we spotted. I went ahead and decided to hit the roof too. You can see those marks in there, and I can feel them with my fingernails. I don't know what that's from, but their primer and stuff that they use had that covered, because I did not see, well, I kind of did see it in the paint to start with. Before we stripped it, I kind of thought it was there, but I wanted to see if I could sand any of it away, and it looks like I got some of it, but not all of it. Alright, we're done with the 80. Now I'm going to hit it with, what is that, 150, and then I'll hit it with 320. And that's just making the scratches smaller and smaller until we get up to the 320, and that will give us a good overall finish. Now I'm just going to hit the doors in the other areas where I hit it with the file with the 150, and then we'll hit the whole thing with the 320. Well, here we are. I've got the body all painted and everything. I think it looks pretty cool. Nice shiny black, and it will pop whenever I clear coat it. But that's not how it's going to stay. I still got to do the interior. I went over the front and the back with the same paint, but I didn't prime it because I wanted some of the chrome to kind of look like a black chrome, if you will, because I knew that without priming it, that the paint would settle on it, and any ridges it would reveal. I just think that made it have a nice little detail to it. So the interior is done. I've got the base done, and we're going to put the decals on. And what decals are we going to use? Like I said, Mr. Shorter he likes NASCAR, so that stated, we're going to make this an Earnhardt car. But you didn't see that coming. Earnhardt, you either loved him or you hated him. There was no in between. I personally liked him. He made, him and others like the Allison gang and the Alabama gang and all them, made NASCAR what it became. And now it's gotten so far away from it, it's kind of a shame. But anyhow, this is what we're going to put on there. And I'm going to use the stripes to go along the bottom. And of course the number 3 and a few other decals. So with that being stated, let's get some of this stuff cut out. Try to keep this all as much as I can. So that's going to go there like that. I want this slid back, so I'm going to have to do these individually. But that's okay. We can handle it. So there's one side. This will go right here. Of course, the 3 will go on the door. And the other ones will go on the front. So let me cut out the ones for the other side and we'll get to this. Alright, let's do a little bit of final assembly on this. I'm going to turn this over so you don't see it just yet. I've got the base all finished. You know, all that I'm going to do to it, which I just put my little old man sticker on there. I'm not going to do a whole lot of detailing to it because of what it is. But here's the interior. I left it chrome, I degreased it and everything. And then I went over it with the blood red paint from Createx. And I really like doing this because with black, you can see it just adds a really modern, crisp look to it. And that's what I was going after, something to really pop. And if you remember, I showed you when I painted the front bumper and the rear bumper. I did it with gloss black, but I went on real heavy with a wet coat because I knew by doing that it would seep down into the grooves. And it would make the edges, without primering it, would make the edges stick through because I knew when I did this, I was going to go over that. And look at what kind of a look that gives you. I'd never done it before. I've often thought about it, but I mean, that just turned out sharp. And the rear bumper's the same way. So we've got that, and we have the glass. And you know, with it being new casting, there was really nothing for me to do to the glass. So let's get this bad boy put together. It's very, very simple. You know, just 2 screws. And I think the owner of this, and I'll go ahead and tell you who it is if I haven't already, Mr. Gary Shorter will like it. Because he really likes NASCAR. And I know that this particular driver is one of his favorites. Might not be his biggest favorite, but is one of his favorites. So with that being said, you know, assembly is just straightforward. Flip everything over, drop it in. Take the base, put it in, and put the 2 screws in it, but make sure everything lines up. Drop the screws in it. Uh-oh, get back in there. And this thing is finished. I hope that Gary likes this. Like I said, he'll know that he likes his NASCAR and everything. And this is something that's definitely different. And he didn't know he was getting it. I finally slipped and told him that he was getting something, but he has no idea as to what. So with that being stated, let's take some beauty shots of this bad boy and show you what we got. if you remember correctly, this is what we started out with. You know, the Chevy pickup truck. It's a gorgeous casting, blue and white. Looks really good and everything. And you know, it's 1967 model, one of the all-time favorites of Chevy. Chevrolet has a record with their trucks. I mean, the 69, the 68, the 67, the square bodies. You know, they've always hit home runs with their pickup trucks and everything, and this is no different. You know, this looks really cool the way it is, but as always, we can do better. So this is what I came up with. Thank you so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.
It might be this. Whoever gets back to the start-finish line, they'll get the white and the yellow together.
Lake Speed and John Andretti tangle as the leaders head for turn number 3. Andretti and Spencer got together.
This could be the Daytona 500. Bobby Labonte goes to the outside.
Labonte up high. Earnhardt uses the lap car of Rick Mast as a pick. 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500.